Good morning, everybody, and a very happy Sunday. So today we are at CHD Law Firm with Lawyer Chaitali Desai here with us. So thank you, Chaitali, for taking time for us and joining us today this morning, giving information about women's welfare and legal aspect on family law, will, and other stuff we'll be talking. So Chaitali, tell us something about yourself and what your firm does.
Absolutely, thank you so much. First of all, a hello and a very well welcome to all the viewers who are joining the session live. Talking a bit about myself, briefly speaking, I'm a lawyer. I have been practicing since 2010, beginning. I started this firm. So it's been over a decade that I've been running my practice. And before that, I have been working in the legal sector since I would say 2003 or 2004. So it's been a very long time that I've been doing this. Over the past years, I've started primarily focusing on family law issues, and that's where I'm kind of specializing in. I handle complex cases in family law, so that involves custody, property disputes, can be even alimony issues. So overall, it's when people are not able to agree on issues is when it becomes contested and they need a lawyer. So I'm able to manage all of that, and I've done many cases before all levels of court. So again, that's very briefly speaking about myself. Yeah.
No, thank you so much. That's great what you do. So આપણે જોઈએ છે કે જૂના જમાનામાં લાઈક in our culture especially family law, or when women have problem or they are in trouble, it was not openly discussed. But things have changed so far, and even in Canada we see that. So what are your observations, especially Apdi community ma, how is the trend right now, and what are the rights of women?
Yeah, so like you just said કે people are opening up. જે તમે હમણાં કીધું કે હવે લોકો આગળ આવે છે. So that is the reason why I see that there is an increase in the trend. તો આપણે અગર નંબર્સ જોઈએ તો સ્ટેટિસ્ટિક્સ વાઇઝ ઓફ કોર્સ આપણે જોશું કે ઘણા બધા લોકોના ડિવોર્સીસ હવે વધવા માંડ્યા છે. But the reason is કે people are now coming forward. હવે લોકો આગળ આવે છે. They talk about their problems. પહેલા એવું કલ્ચર હતું કે ચલો થોડુંક તો ફેમિલી ઇશ્યુઝ આર બિંગ સપ્રેસ્ડ, લોકો ઘરમાં જ રાખે ને they kind of live with it. But હવે you see the trend, you see the number of cases rising. People are coming forward with also, I would say કે જે factor is affecting it is also because women are becoming a bit independent. Women are coming forward. અને પહેલા એવું નહોતું, એટલે that probably થોડું ઘણું ઇફેક્ટ થતું હશે ડિવોર્સના ટ્રેન્ડને, પણ હવે આપણા કમ્યુનિટીમાં પણ હું જોઉં છું કે ઇન્ક્રીઝ થાય છે કેસીસ.
So do you think women are initiating it, or like they come forward and start the initiation, like they do it?
હવે that's one thing that I'm observing કે હવે women are coming forward અને they are taking the steps. હવે એ ફિયર નથી ને એ હેઝિટેશન નથી કે આ ડિવોર્સ છે ને હવે આગળ શું થશે. બટ ઓફકોર્સ વુમન આર કમિંગ ફોરવર્ડ અને ધીરે ધીરે જેમ સોસાયટીમાં બહુ બધા રિસોર્સિસ આર અવેલેબલ ટુ હેલ્પ વુમેન. Lawyers તો છે જ, but even other organizations are available to assist women in their crisis. તો એના લીધે હવે થોડો કોન્ફિડન્સ આવે છે. મેં એ જોયું છે સ્ત્રીને ને વુમનને કે ઓકે, આઈ થિંક આઈ કેન ટેક ધીસ સ્ટેપ. આઈ થિંક એ લોકોના ડિસિઝન્સ એવા થાય છે કે હવે મારે આ સિચ્યુએશનમાં નથી રહેવું. આઈ થિંક ઇફ ઇટ્સ નોટ વર્કિંગ આઉટ, ઇટ્સ નોટ વર્કિંગ આઉટ. અગર હસબન્ડ વાઇફ ખુશ નથી તો then they move forward and they are separating. Yeah.
True. Especially if the woman is not independent, like if they are dependent somehow financially. So what and still seeking separation or some kind of solution to her situation. What are your thoughts about that?
So I'll just say generally speaking, because બધા કેસીસ જુદા હોય છે. આપણે એક જનરલ કેટેગરીની વાત કરીએ કે જે વનરેબલ વુમેન હોય, કે જે વીકર સેક્શન ઓફ ધ સોસાયટી જે છે, કે એ લોકો ફર્સ્ટ ઓબ્વિયસલી દે થિંક અ લોટ વેન દે આર ટેકિંગ દેટ સ્ટેપ. My advice would be કે definitely lawyer ની advice એ લોકોને લેવી જ જોઈએ, because each situation, each family circumstance is very different. So depending on that, પછી એ લોકો decide કરી શકે કે what they can do. But આપણે generally અગર Canadian law approach જોઈએ તો Canadian law is very clear કે they want the spouses to have economic equality. Economic equality means કે જે weaker spouse है, કે જે spouse financially is not very strong, so J spouse is financially strong will have to compensate the other spouse in some form or the other. So that is the approach of the Canadian law. કે જ્યારે બે spouse husband wife separate થાય, so they walk out with kind of equal finances. Meaning કે જે લોકોએ marriageમાં જેટલું એ લોકોએ savings કરી હોય, they both get the equal portion of that. That is what they say કે જે property division થાય એ equal થાય. It's just a general approach to હું તમને કહું છું કે that is what the main focuses of Canadian law. So agar ye approach thi apne chaliye, to I always advise my client ki you don't have to fear ki maru su thase because I'm not earning. Say for example koi hoy ke jene income na hoy ne they haven't worked all their life ane chokrao che ane again they are in a situation they're not happy in their marriage, so what should they do? So they have certain rights. If they're not earning, then their husbands will have an obligation to pay them alimony. And the alimony, the way the court sees is कि so that कि जे wife छे ये अगर एकली रह छे, she's able to support herself. So she's financially, economically independent. That is the approach taken by the Canadian court, and that is the reason why they have things like spousal support in place. So what the weaker section should not fear कि maru su thase. So they are easily able to take that step and then come forward. So there are a lot of other options and claims and rights that those spouses will have when it comes to separating divorces.
Great. So that covers like dependent people, but there are independent people also, like women કે જે પોતે કમાય છે, બહુ સારું કમાય છે, અને છતાંય ઘણીવાર એવું થાય છે કે husband wife માં even if wife is earning more or less or equal, husband always has a say અને financially પણ એ control કરી નાખે છે ઘણીવાર, ઘણા couples માં એવું થાય છે. So in that case, and if they are thinking about separation or something like that, so how the finances will work between them?
So now we're talking about the opposite category, right?
Yes.
So women who are in power. Okay, so what those women should think of? Of course, એમાં સૌથી પહેલા એ લોકોની fear એ હોય છે કે જે મારું hard earned money છે એનું શું, right? Because that's always the thing. Okay, I've worked so hard, I've earned this position, I'm the one who has contributed towards my family, and I'm working more than my husband. So it's always this fear કે મારું બધું savings ક્યાં જતું રહેશે. So Emma, again, I'll go back to what I said. Okay, the Canadian approach is that they give you like an equal, separation and equal status. So even after separation, economic equality is extremely important. But at the same time, जे stronger spouse होय, ये लोगों savings ये लोगों केवरे રીતે protect करे, then there are very different factors that we take into consideration. Jare when you're coming to a lawyer's office, and that is the reason what why you need us. અને jare we are putting our approach towards it. When it comes to property division, it's not ke badu half થઈ જશે. We actually see your net worth. So it's not just tamari savings, but tamari liabilities પણ એમાં include થાય છે. And then there are a lot of other things that we put in, that we see your net worth. And we always try to see કે કેટલું અમે અમારા client નું save કરી શકીએ, right? Because as a lawyer, our obligation is to always protect our client's best interest. So always the stronger spouses, their focus is okay, how do I save and protect my earnings and my savings, and how do I save myself from all of this? And then again, for those spouses also, there are various things that we can put into place, even when it comes to them paying the alimony, because there are a lot of women clients who are earning more than their husband and they end up paying alimony to their husbands. So eva par che, and in those categories, there are various factors that the court sees. They see the dependency between spouses. We strongly argue that if the other side is young, able to work, so why not? They can earn more than what they're making. So those are the factors that we use in negotiating a better alimony, so that, if my client is a higher income earner, she's able to kind of walk away and live her life, even being, the stronger spouse economically after separation, so that, you don't get the hit of, I'm the higher income earner, I will have to end up paying more. And of course, in those cases also, there are a lot of things that we can work around for the client.
True.
Yeah.
So, given this situation, especially COVID and everybody's at home, what do you think? Are the cases increasing, decreasing, or how do we deal in this kind of situation?
So, unfortunately,
for both, like independent or dependent, either way, क्या कर सकते हैं अगर ये सिचुएशन है और दोनों ही मियाँ बीवी घर पे हैं, शायद झगड़े बढ़ रहे हैं, तो बात अगर सेपरेशन तक पहुंच जाती है तो क्या कर सकते हैं?
हाँ, नहीं, COVID-19 की situation was very difficult for everybody. I would say that all families, it was unprecedented. We all know that कि पहला उठायो ना तो, so it was very difficult for families to stay at home. In those situations, what we have done is that we have still, clients, लोग फिर भी they were able to take legal steps. And they were able to come forward, and even in crisis situations, they are able to address. And what we have taken is we have taken legal steps by sending legal notices. And at this point in time, what I would talk about is how you can, settle your case out of court. So this COVID situation gave an opportunity to clients to settle cases out of court through mediations and negotiations. And of course, even in very extreme cases, it's just not working out, court ma jawuj pade, you have to take that extreme step. The courts were functioning. It wasn't that the courts were not functioning. The courts were open. And I was able to take those urgent steps as well. So it was very difficult for people to go through crisis, and family issues, especially when there's COVID. And a lot of people were thinking whether it is a good time to take the step or it's not a good time to take the step. But the thing is that from our perspective, the way we say is that if my family situation is bad, then you have to take that step. Because if you have children involved, then it's not good for the children to see that violence and that issues in the family, because it is not good for their health.
True.
So the more children see that it's not good for their health, and it does impact your children at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
So two separated spouses, your husband and wife separate rehta hoy, the kids are more happy when their parents are separated, and they're able to spend independent time with their parents, rather than the parents living together in the same house and fighting, because it just stressed you away. That's impacting them more.
ઘણી વાર એવું જ થતું હોય છે કે લોકોના મનમાં એમ હોય છે કે because of kids I am not taking that step, but that is a wrong attitude probably I may suggest કે છોકરાઓના લીધે હું ઘરે છું કે હું આ સહન કરું છું કે જે પણ તમારી હોય comment is not fair, because ultimately kids are affected, mental health is affected, and the family environment atmosphere is affected overall, is what my observation personally is. Given that the separation in a legal one, during that time, if an independent person is going, first of all, let's talk about what is the difference between separation and divorce.
That's a very important, because a lot of people get confused. So separation is your marriage has ended. It's not just a physical separation, but legally separation means the time when you feel that your marriage end thai gayi hai. And that time can be jare tame tamara husband ne kidhu hoy ke I want to end this marriage, I want to separate. So that's the time of separation. And separation can take place even if two people are living in the same house. So je mind ma concept hai ki hame physically to separate nathi rehta, so that means a separation gana se. And no, that's not actually 100% true, but people can be separated even when they're living in the same house and sharing the same roof. As long as, be bedroom ma juda suta hoy, those people are considered to be separated. But the separation means that, your marriage has broken down and you both don't have that relationship, essentially. That is separation. So tame as a husband-wife nathi rehta together. So that marriage has ended. So that's separation. Whereas divorce is when your marriage officially ends. And your legal status is that you're divorced and you're back to single. So when you're separated, even if you tax file karo, you cannot say that you're divorced or you're single, but you have to declare your status as separated.
Okay.
Legally. Yes. Okay. Yeah. And when you do so, tamare aajkal I think CRA is also asking for proof ke tame je separation tamaru status batadyu che, tenu tamara પાસે proof શું છે. So the first proof is કે either you have a separation agreement or not. આ બધા proof તમને CRA પણ માંગે છે. હવે government is also asking for proof. So that is one thing. That's separation. And then once you get divorced, then you can officially start putting your status as single parent or single.
Okay.
Because you're divorced.
Yeah.
Then you're back to single. So officially, ekbar court ni degree aavi jaye, then it officially ends your marriage. Yeah.
So that brings to my next question, whether separated or divorced, when it comes to wealth distribution, ત્યારે નહીં પહેલાં પણ અગર જ્યારે પણ તમે એઝ અ ફેમિલી ઓલ્સો વેન યુ આર ટોકિંગ અબાઉટ અ વેલ્થ ડિસ્ટ્રીબ્યુશન, તો how do we go about it? કે મારી ઈચ્છા એવી હોય કે whether I'm in a relationship, I'm in a family, divorce or separated, મારી wealth જે હોય છે એ મારી ડોટરને જવી જોઈએ કે મારા સનને જવી જોઈએ. So that kind of legal wish or a will, you can say. Yeah. How do we go about that?
That's a very important question you asked. Because after all, tamari aaki life ni savings, or you want ke savings tamara next of kin ne jaye, or to the people you want, after you pass away. So ena mate અહીંયા Ontario ma it is extremely important that you make a will. Because without a will, there is no guarantee that tamara next of kin easily mari jase, because it's a very longer process in court when how your wealth is distributed or how your assets are distributed to your next of kin or legal heir. And it's called an estate application act pade, and it's a lengthy process and it's an expensive process, because ત્યારે તમારે lawyer ને હારે કરવા પડે, and the fees for all of that is really high. Better than that is to kind of make a will, right now, have that document in place. And I would strongly advise ke je will che tame lawyer na through banao, because it's extremely important ke jare tame will, after you pass away, whoever your trustee or next of kin is files that will in court, je court che when they are doing the probate process, they actually see ke will ketli legitimate che. And when the will is being prepared by a lawyer, notarized and witnessed, then actually that will is more legitimate than a holograph will, which is handwritten wills che apne koi handwritten karin jatu rahe. It's really not that legitimate and not that important. So these wills, which are done by lawyers, are more legitimate, and the process of going through the probate for those wills is very simple. Because your person is tied with a will, they will file karva pachi appointment of trustees becomes very simpler.
Right.
And it's a very simple process.
So internet per what we find all templates of ready-made wills and all, people have habit like they become sometimes stingy. They don't understand the value ke તમે આટલી બધી wealth તમારા છોકરાઓ માટે તમારે છોડવી છે. Just don't take any template from internet, download it and put it as a will. They think that as far as it's in paper, it's in writing, and it's signed and witnessed by, then it will help okay in court. But I don't think that's the right information, right?
That's correct. Yeah, it's not right. Self-made wills are really not authentic. They're not that 100% legitimate. And it's not really, you save that much of money at that point of time, but the money that your legal heirs and trustee will end up spending probating that will will be way more than what you will be spending making a will before you pass away. So compared to that, so I think the wisest thing to do is to make a will. And another important thing that I want to tell everybody is that when you make a will in Ontario, that will include your assets only in Ontario and Canada. It does not include assets outside of this country. And so if you have assets outside of the country, you will have to make a will that's applicable in that country. because આપણા ઘણા ઇન્ડિયાના viewers હશે.
Yeah, exactly. તો હવે સપોઝ મારી ઇન્ડિયાની પણ પ્રોપર્ટી ઇન્ક્લુડ કરવાની હોય તો do I need two wills then?
એ તમારે ઇન્ડિયામાં સેપરેટ વિલ કરવી પડશે because અહીંયાની કોર્ટ ને અહીંયાની એ jurisdiction બહાર જતું રહે બધું. So any asset outside of Ontario in Canada, it's outside jurisdiction of this law.
Okay.
So જે અહીંયાની will છે એ અહીંયાના law પ્રમાણે ને અહીંયા જે situated assets છે એને handle કરશે.
અચ્છા.
પણ ઇન્ડિયાના assets માટે તમારે ઇન્ડિયામાં will કરવી પડશે અને I get this question very often. એટલે I thought I'll
So this is
share
a great
this
information.
today.
Perfect. Thank you. કારણ કે ઘણાના મગજમાં ઇનફેક્ટ મારા મગજમાં પણ કેવું કે વિલ કરી દીધું આપણે ઇન્ડિયાની પણ બધી પ્રોપર્ટીઝ લખી નાખી છે કે આટલું આટલું છે અને આટલું આટલું મળવાનું છે તો we never knew, right?
ના એ ઇન્ડિયામાં નહીં ચાલે because ત્યાંની કોર્ટ અહીંયાની will accept નહીં કરે અને અહીંયાના will document ત્યાં નથી ચાલતા. So similarly power of attorneys also ઘણા બધા I think મારા clients હોય છે જે ઇન્ડિયામાં properties હોય છે અને they want to manage it. My first advice would be કે તમે ત્યાંથી કોઈ lawyer થી power of attorney draft કરાવો because ત્યાંના rules અલગ છે ને ત્યાં locally use કરવી હોય તો first check with your lawyer there. પછી જો અહીંયાની તમારી બનાવેલી ચાલતી હોય then you can prepare it and send it.
બરાબર.
Yeah.
So property in India and power of attorney from India for a citizen of Canada.
You have to check with your lawyer over there.
Correct.
Yeah. What will work?
Correct.
Because હવે ત્યાં the way the things are they prefer having their own set of documents અને they prefer કે એ જ accept થાય છે.
બરાબર.
So ત્યાંના prepared જે documents હોય છે you will execute those documents here, not that you will execute the documents there. તમે sign અહીંયા કરશો but if they have their own specific forms they can use that.
That's perfect. અને આ જે will છે is that something to renew every time or how does that work? એકવાર બનાવી લીધું that's written in stone, that's it.
So will, there are two things. If there are minor changes to a will, you can make a codicil.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a small document, but if there are major changes to the will, then you have to make a new will.
So there is nothing like a renewal, like either you do a new will or you do like
or
an amendment
codicil
or something
or
like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. More or less we covered what we had planned today, but when we are talking about again wealth and will and stuff like that, I would also like to touch a topic about women in business. When they buy business legally, what are the legal rights and legalities they have to think and watch out for? Any advice for commercial or buying business stuff?
Absolutely. So buying business, again, it's altogether different ballgame than buying a residential real estate properties, right? So when you're purchasing a business, there are a lot of things you have to consider. And the involvement of a lawyer starts from the time you are signing an agreement. And the reason why that is important is because જ્યારે તમે business buy કરો છો, the clauses and the things that you have to put in the agreement depends on the type of business you're buying. એટલે કોઈ વાર કોઈ ફ્રેન્ચાઇઝ બિઝનેસ હોય તો કોઈ વાર કોઈ ઇન્ડિપેન્ડન્ટ ઓન બિઝનેસ હોય તો કોઈનું બિઝનેસનું ટ્રેડમાર્ક હોય. સો ધ ક્લોઝિસ એન્ડ ધ વોરંટીઝ અને કન્ડિશન્સ જે અમારે એગ્રીમેન્ટમાં નાખવાના હોય ઇટ ઓલ ડિપેન્ડ્સ ઓન ધ ટાઈપ ઓફ બિઝનેસ. એટલે મોસ્ટ ઓફ ટાઈમ આઈ ટેલ માય એક્ઝિસ્ટિંગ ક્લાયન્ટ્સ કે જ્યારે તમે બિઝનેસ ખરીદો છો એટ દેટ પોઈન્ટ ઓફ ટાઈમ યુ ઇન્વોલ્વ અસ સો દેટ જ્યારે તમે એગ્રીમેન્ટ સહી કરો ત્યારે વી મેક શ્યોર દેટ તમારા બધા જે એગ્રીમેન્ટ્સ અને ટર્મ્સ ને ક્લોઝિસ અમારે જોઈએ it's part of the agreement. And the reason why we want that is because koi par business purchases ma the parties will have to stick to what is agreed in the agreement of the business purchase. Tame agreement ni bahar kashu demand na kari sako. So at the time of signing of the agreement it is extremely important that you have everything covered, everything. So the agreement itself is extremely crucial and that's the base of buying a business. And there are a lot of things to keep in mind when you're buying a business. It's like, if business comes with equipments, if business has some machinery and assets, then we have to make sure that there are proper warranties in place. The equipments and assets run in normal condition. And if there's any damage, then there is some kind of, protection for the client. Second thing is exchange of proper documentation for that business, financial records of the business, and our client is given time to review those. The observation of the business, sometimes we feel that the observation period is extremely important for the business, even though अगर कोई बार client ने खबर हो कि business केवु है, तो the observation period is extremely crucial. So that's there. And then insurance coverages, and there are a lot of warranties which I think but the individually cover nahi kari saku just in this, but I'm just generally speaking okay, the agreement for a business purchase is extremely important. It's a very sometimes it's a very big document and we put in a lot of time. It's just because we make sure that everything is part of that agreement.
That's
and
perfect.
Our client is fully protected when they're buying the business.
So, for viewers, kya khali women mata advice nathi, anybody buying business, this is a very helpful advice for everybody. એટલે જ્યારે તમે realtor સાથે કામ કરતા હો ત્યારે તમે સાથે સાથે when it is commercial business you are planning to buy and all, it is always better to consult a lawyer right from the initial stages of your planning and all. And that's a great information. Now, while we are talking about real estate, there is a question from viewer કે હવે તો બેઝમેન્ટ લીગલ થઈ ગયા છે બ્રામ્પટનમાં પણ તો what are the legal questions one should be asking or one should be looking for while they are planning to rent their basement? So from a lawyer's perspective, realtor તો એમને સલાહ આપતા જ હશે, but from a lawyer's perspective, what should an owner of a house before renting out their basement should look out for?
So it's everything is legalized, but again, when they're buying the property or they're already existing owners of the property, I think it's always wise to get the property inspected and check the municipal records, just to make sure that nothing is outstanding with the city. And once all of that is in place, when you ask a lawyer what owner should do, is always have a document in place before they're renting out the basement. If it's concerning a tenant whom they're giving, they should have a lease in place. That covers not just the rent but the use of the premises, covers if there's damage caused, then they can recover the damage from the tenants, because without any documents you can't really do that. You can't. So legally, I think for all the homeowners, that's extremely important, that they should have a lease in place which covers everything: the use of the premises, the peaceful occupation of the premises, they don't cause nuisance, and the rights of the landlord to terminate the lease before the end of the term in case if something happens, and the provisions completely in place.
So again, the agreement should not be something downloaded out of internet or something, but always to consult a professional.
Yes,
that's better.
Yes.
And for this particular situation in COVID, when we can if they are not paying rent or something like that, we cannot ask them to vacate. So how do you deal with that? Like any legal advice on that aspect?
So you see, during the COVID-19 situation, yes, it's been a bit tough, but I think the way the landlords can protect themselves is that obviously start by sending a notice to the tenant. At least let them know that they are in default of the rent. Ask them to see what they're planning to do in respect to the rent payments. How much are they able to pay? Sometimes they're not able to pay the full amount but a lower amount, and they can defer the remaining amount to a later date. That continues with the flow of the rent. So definitely start by sending a notice and putting it on the record that this is what has happened, you've stopped paying, so give us let us know what the options are. And again, they have the recourse to go to the landlord tenant board. That's there. The tribunals are there for the evictions, but during this time, I mean, it's a bit of an odd situation. I don't know about the residential tenancies, if they're given any kind of I would say like that they cannot force the tenants to vacate. For commercial landlords, it's completely different. I know that the commercial landlords are given some programs by the federal government, and also I think the provincial government has urged the landlords not to evict the tenants. But the residential front, I haven't.
It's different.
It's different. I haven't read that in the news, or there's a bylaw that's being created especially for the COVID-19. So the residential landlords are, you just go by the Residential Tenancies Act. Whether it's if it's a basement, you've rented it out and the tenants are not paying, you have all the recourses left. The only thing is that you should not condone your action. It's extremely important when it comes to law, is that once you ignore it and you sit on it for 6 months and you keep a tenant for 6 months who hasn't paid the rent, the more delay you cause, you're kind of losing at the end of it.
Yeah, always right. Always put a backup.
Yes. So my advice would be at least send a notice out to the tenant so that you have something on the record saying that, okay, you've defaulted in the rent. I've taken a note of it. It's been a month or 2 months, whatever it is, so that you're asking the tenant to let you know what the situation is, whether they've lost a job or what is it, or whether they're purposely not paying the rent.
Yeah.
We don't know. So at least have that ball rolling, and then if nothing comes up, then of course you have your rights. You should move forward with other things. Yeah.
Perfect. This is great information. Yeah. Our viewers are also very happy that we almost addressed all the questions they looked for. So Chaitali, it was a really great informative segment today we had with you, and thank you so much for taking time today and be with us, joining us today, giving so much of information. I really appreciate any words or any last advice for viewers today.
Last advice is, of course, be happy and stay safe. And whenever in a situation, don't hesitate to consult a lawyer. Always you'll find a lot of information about my firm and myself on my website. It is called www.chdlaw.ca. The website will have information about my background, how long I have practiced, and the types of cases that I have done, and the cases that have been reported. So it's quite informative, and I would really encourage people to go on the website and contact me, and if they are in a situation, do not hesitate.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you, everybody. Have a happy Sunday.